us within 24 hours. You could get authorization paid through the portal. We usually encourage this. This is very fast because it drops at our end very quickly. And issuing the code is just by a click of a button. I'll be showing us how this works very soon. You could also call our hotline if you're having any challenge reaching us or any challenge generating the code via the portal. Or you could also send an email to us and we will respond. Once again, every email goes to hcp@phillipshmo.net alone. hcp@phillipshmo.net. You don't have to copy Dr. Daniel. You don't have to copy Adiola. You don't have to copy info. You don't have to copy January. Just send the email here. You would attest that every time you copy those other people, the response always comes from here. So just send to hcp@phillipshmo.net. That is the correct place in every correspondence. Because we usually say that we use the portal. The reason for using the portal is that it makes processing very easy. It makes processing very easy. Half of the work is done. We don't have to start doing the entry once the portal is ready. So please let us use the portal to get use the portal to submit our claims. It makes processing very easy and it also makes payment faster. Hard copy claims can also be brought for people that are unable to use the portal. But if you're unable to use the portal, if for any reason you're unable to use the portal, feel free to let us know. And we would even teach us how to use the portal in training this morning. So we encourage us to please use the portal for claim submission. These are the ones we recommend. The other one is the Excel, add format of submitting. That one is quite complex. We don't encourage us to use that one because just a single character
Okay. So post videos on, and let's see. Share. Oh, fantastic.
We do not encourage polypharmacy and churning of bills, and so they are inappropriate and they are highly discouraged. So please let us take note of them. The use of several antibiotics, same type antibiotics that are not in the standard treatment protocol, that are not the correct way. For example, if you're treating ulcer, of course we know that ulcer it has a multi-drug therapy in treating it once diagnosis is confirmed. But when we're treating sepsis and then we use several broad spectrum antibiotics just for that, for that, antibiotics that do the same function, or drugs generally that do the same thing, and then we are using several of them, that's what we call polypharmacy, and it's highly discouraged. Drugs and investigations must be relevant. Drugs and investigations must be relevant to the diagnosis and management. So if we're giving drugs or we have diagnoses that do not correlate, that do not have what we call the medical necessity, there must be medical necessity, before drugs are prescribed and before investigations are given. So when we are submitting our claims, we must make sure that all of the diagnoses that will be relevant to the caregiving are properly captured, either directly when we are entering the claims as anxious or in the comment box, so that use will not be denied. Referrals for specialist consultation should be only when medically necessary as well. And then all claims must be submitted within 10 days from the successive month of the encounter. We usually encourage, early submission. Early submission will make for early processing, and that would also make for early payment. So we encourage us to submit our bills on or before the 10th month of the successive month of the encounter, 10th day rather, from successive month of the encounter, which means August bill should hit our portal on or before the 10th of September. Every claim form must be properly filled, and you can't even submit your form. That's why we encourage use of the portal, because all the relevant fields would have to be filled, otherwise you will not be able to submit them. But for the few that will still be doing hard copy, which we highly discourage, we must make sure that we capture all relevant information, policy number, telephone number, and everything that is needed so that we can, approve it accordingly. None of our enrollees should be denied care without contacting us or getting clearance from us. We want to thank us. The majority of providers do this. They always get in touch with us, and we want us to continue to do that. Please, before denying a release care, reach out to us and let us know what the issue is so that we can confirm that to you. All medications prescribed must be safe and NAFDAC approved. We want to reiterate and stress this again and again. Please let all all drugs be safe and NAFDAC approved. NAFDAC approved. We had an incident once quite recently, for an enrollee that took us up something similar today. So please, every drug must be NAFDAC approved before we dispense them to our enrollees. In line with standard practice, all our enrollees must be duly informed of their diagnosis, their treatment modalities, and management. All our enrollees, that present in emergency should be treated. We know that providers always reach out to us. We appreciate that, and we like this to continue. So please, before you deny somebody on emergency, please reach out to us. And if you're unable to reach us, once it is a true emergency, go ahead and treat. We had an incident one time of an emergency on disease management and evidence-based medicine, and none of our enrollees should be discriminated against. And I'd like to say at this point that we want us to be quite sensitive. I know that we have MDs on the call. I could see Professor Hospital in Egbeda. That hospital is in Egbeda. I will not mention the name of the hospital now. And the person said that his daughter or so, his child, had a dislocation or had an issue with the hand and was referred from another hospital to that hospital. And according to the person, so when I probed deeper, I asked if it was a fracture. He said it wasn't a fracture. So it sounded either like a dislocation or a sprain. And the enrollee said that he was told that he should go, that there's nothing to be done to the hand, that after all, it's the left hand. Right? After all, it's the left hand, that is he using it, that the left hand is not so useful, that he should go. And that was all that. Now, I want to believe, I want to believe, so we even plan to get in touch. I got that complaint yesterday evening. We plan to get in touch with the provider today to get the provider side of the story. I want to believe that the way the incident or the communication went may not have been as bad as the enrollee portrayed it. However, because of the sensitive nature of that comment, the enrollee could only, interpret it in a very negative light. And all the enrollee could imagine was that he was being told that his hand was useless and that it's just the left hand. What was he using it for? I don't want to believe that a doctor would have said that to any enrollee, but it may have been said in a slightly mild or maybe even a joking manner or something like that. But the enrollee went ahead to escalate and to report to his HR and to say that the hospital told him that his hand is useless and he should go, and was using that as an excuse for why he had to go to a traditional pet attendant. So please, let's be very sensitive. Enrollees are becoming more aware of their rights. We're having more medical legal issues. Many of us are aware of a particular hospital, in Lagos that had a big issue, which was on the news and was taken up and was actually sanctioned. So please let us become very, very sensitive in how we communicate to the enrollees. Let there be no discrimination. Let there be no derogatory comments. Let us treat them with utmost respect and utmost courtesy as the tenets of our profession demands. We really appreciate us once again for taking our time to be a part of this meeting. Thank you very much for listening to us. These are our contacts, just to let us know them once again. Please follow us on social media. Look for us through any of our handles. We release very interesting and lively comments from time to time. Those that are following us, we know, and please be a part of it. Comment on our posts, like them, and because we benefit off these things, and we believe that as we benefit, our providers, which are very key stakeholder in our business, will benefit as well. So once again, this is the telephone number to call. That's the email address to send our correspondence. Thank you very much for listening to me. Please, let's keep our mics muted. Our website. We come to our website, phillipshmo.net. For those of us that are coming for the first time, I know majority of the providers here already know how to get to their portal. We come to our website. We would have sent you a login details when you signed on our platform. So from our website, phillipshmo.net, you would see a button at the top right corner here that says providers. So just click on that provider button, and then it takes you to the login page of the provider portal. It takes you to the login page of the provider portal. With that login detail, we have the username and password that has been sent to your email. So you use that to log in, and then you'll be in the provider. You'll be on the provider portal. You'll be on the landing page. So you'll be on the landing page of the provider portal. Once you're in, the first thing you see on the landing page is the page to check eligibility. And like we said, eligibility is quite easy to check. So you could either use the enrollee number or you could use the last name. In fact, even if it's just the name, first name, you can even use it. It will still work. So you use the enrollee number and do a search. Submit with the enrollee number, and you will see the person will come up. So you can see this particular person is a family, and everyone in that family with this ID number, you can see them, how they are registered like this. So whichever enrollee is the main enrollee that wants to access care at that moment, you now click on viewing that person. Now, when you click on view, you will see the person. A pop-up will come and ask you if the enrollee is currently at the hospital. If the enrollee is at the hospital, just click on yes. This is how we track encounter. So it's important for you to click yes. Now, once you do that, you will see the picture of the person and you will see some very vital information. The system will let you know, first of all, this is the most important, is the enrollee allowed to use your hospital? You will see that information here. The system would let you know whether the person is allowed to use your hospital or not. If you see that the person is not allowed to use the hospital, you can please contact us and we would help you verify that. But Usually, everything is already configured on the system. If an enrollee is allowed to use the hospital, you see the information down here. You would also see if the person is active. I think the first thing is to know if the person is active first, actually. So is the person active? And then can the person use your hospital? Once these two things are positive, then you can proceed to send the person to see a doctor. You can see that this eligibility check takes less than 30 seconds to do. It's actually very easy, very, very easy to do. The page does not spend a long time to load, and it turns up very quickly. So you see if the person is active and you see if the person is allowed to use your hospital. Just ignore this member menu. This member menu is for those that are doing capitation, and we are currently not doing capitation with any provider, so we can just ignore this. We have the pre-authorization, that's the PA request menu. Now, when you come to the PA request menu, the first thing to ask you if you want to request for PA. So it's actually very easy to also do that. You come here, you put the enrollee ID number. Once you put the enrollee ID number, search, the system will bring up the passport of the person, and you'll see. So the system will still tell you at this point that the person is active and the person can use your hospital. You will see all that information. Now, whether or not the person's primary care provider is your provider, it doesn't matter. It is inconsequential whether the person's primary care provider is your provider. It doesn't actually matter. What matters is that the person is active and the person can use your hospital. Even if the person's primary care provider is not your hospital, you can go ahead to attend to the person. Now, this is just where you fill details of the service that you're trying to get authorization for. Now, we already told us here in the past, but let's mention it again, that we use ICD-10 code for the diagnosis. So instead of, and ICD-10 code can be quite complex sometimes, because you may have various variants of the same diagnosis. So we have encouraged us to just go to Google. So just go to Google, and then from Google you'll be able to see. So if I want to check what's the ICD-10 code for malaria, for example, I just say ICD-10 code malaria, and pardon me, I can see it's B54. So I take that B54 and I bring it here. I type B54, and then you can see it right there. Irrespective of if it is complicated, just put complicated malaria there if it is complicated, or if it is resistance. Whatever it is, just put it in your own language, and Google will give you the nearest ICD-10 code. You can see this is, ignore the dots, this is B508. B508, I come if it's complicated malaria, I put B508, and there I would have complicated malaria. So it's very easy. Don't rack your brain and don't try to search. You see, you type malaria here, and then you're now searching, you're trying to see which one is it, which one is the nearest. Don't stress yourself doing that. Just go to Google, type whatever diagnosis you are looking for, put ICD-10 code in front of it, and Google will give you the code. And you will just quickly come here, type in that code, and you will be home and drive. So that's one thing I want to let us know. That's just a simple way to make this more efficient. Then you will then come and search for the procedure. Now, we need to let us know at this point that it's only procedures that require codes that will show up here. So if I put a general ward, for example, yes, I will see general ward, but I will not see general consultation here. I will not see GP consult here. Why? Because GP consult does not need a code. Remember, this is the request for PA page. So it's only services that require codes that will show up here. And once you pick the service, our agreed tariff shows up here, and you will not be able to change it. And then you can select the quantity, maybe 2 days admission. I do that, and then I add to list. So I can continue to add to list until I've selected all the request, all the PA, all the services for which I need a code. I select them, and then I will then request for PA. I request for PA. Okay, you can see the system says enter comment. So like we said, you need to also put a comment. You need to also put a comment so that it gives the person that wants to do the approval, he understands the context and it's not, when you put a comment, you reduce the chance of the code being denied, because you have already given a story, a background story that helps the person that needs to keep the approval, that helps him to understand the context. A patient has come, you have documented so many things. The patient has given you history, has given you, you have done an examination, you've done so many things, review of systems, and then you have made an impression. You understand? You have made a clinical impression, or you even have a definitive diagnosis. Now, the definitive diagnosis may not tell the full story. There may be some things that are contextual. So those are the things that you can easily just put in this comment. Okay, this patient has been treated for malaria twice in the past 1 month. Now, somebody giving this approval, this helps the person to understand that, oh, okay, this is this. When you put a comment like this, it really helps the context. It really helps the context, because the agent doing the approval knows that this is not irregular, or this is not typical malaria. There is a context to this that the person approving, I believe, will benefit from, and then you can put that request for PA code once it says okay. And then the comment, you don't have to put the comment many times. You can just add several services. After adding several services, you just put the comment once. You understand? It's not that for every service line you have to put a comment. No, you can just add all the services, and then put the comment once, and you will be able to send it. Once we do that, very soon, call center agents will immediately get a notification that a PA request has been made, and once they do that, once they see it, they will be able to respond. Now, for claim submission, this is another critical aspect which we need to know about. So like we said, we have claims, we have 2 types of claims. We have the claims, just the way we have 2 types of services. We have services that require authorization, and we have services that do not require authorization. Now, for services that require authorization, the claim submission for them are very simple. Now, let me see if I can get a PA code. All you just have to do is to come and put the PA code. Once you put the PA code here, the system will populate everything. You can see this is a PA code. Once I put that PA code here, the PA code that we have sent to you, the system will populate everything. But before you do that, of course, you need to create a batch. So the first thing to do in submitting claim is to create a batch. Now, you can do this monthly. You can create a batch per month. I know many of us are already used to this, because a very good number of our providers use this portal to submit their claims. So this is just a refresher. So just create a batch, and then we encourage us to be specific in the way you name the batch. So don't just say June batch. In fact, if you say June batch, the system will not take it, because there are several other batches that are called June batch. But mention the name of the hospital. Say, for example, Al-Jolad Hospital claims, and then you say September 2021. You understand? So don't let me use Al-Jolad Hospital, so that this system will not record this. Let me say Philips Hospital. Philips Hospital PA claim September 20. So this is very clear. Number 1, it shows the name of the hospital. Number 2, it shows the type of claim. Is it a PA batch, or is it a no auth batch? And then it also shows the month of encounter. Like I said, you only have to do this once in a month, and then this is where you get to select the month. So once you select that month, then you have created the batch. When you do that, you come and select the batch. You can see it here. It's called Philips Hospital PA claim September 2021. Once you do that, you can now come and start adding various claims. So you get details of that claim, and then you can add to batch. Get details, add to batch. Mind you, if the PA has already been added to batch, you will not be able to add it again, and that's what you just saw now. But under normal circumstances, if it's a PA for that month, you come here, you add to batch, add to batch, add to batch, add to batch, and then once the PA has been added, now once you add to batch, you can keep adding to batch until the end of the month, and then you now come and do what we call the final submission. So there is a final submission. If you create a batch and you do not do a final submission, everything, all the effort is wasted. So, and we have had a lot of these issues. We've had several providers that, that have come to ask us, that their claims, in fact, there was a particular provider that will allow you to do a final submission. Please let us keep it. It's as if you're still working on it from your end, but you do that final, and when you click on that, the system will ask you, do you want to submit this finally? You say yes, and then you lock it in. That's when we'll be able to, work on that claim from our own end. Otherwise, you may be counting and say, oh, I submitted this bill since January. Philips HMO are owing me, they are yet to pay. Well, that will not be true because we have not even seen the claim. We are unable to process it because you have not done a final submission of that claim. So please let us also take note of that. And for primary care claims, there's a button here that says click here to view primary care services. So you can just click here to see the list of services that are primary care services. Many times when providers tell us we don't have this particular procedure on your portal, it's either because the procedure is a primary care service and they are looking at it on the request PA page. They are looking for it on the request PA page, and they want to request for an authorization for a procedure that does not require authorization. A good example is general consultation. General consultation is primary care. You don't need a code for it. So if you then go ahead to search or you're trying to request for code for general consultation, nothing will come up. You would not see anything. Nothing will come up at all. So in the same way also, you create a batch. Like I said, you create a batch just once in a month. So Philips Hospital, let's say Philips Hospital claim. You understand? So Philips Hospital no auth April batch, and then let me use September batch. You understand? September 2021. I even like to put the year, September 2021. So it's very clear to anybody that sees it, and then you can create that batch. Once you do that, you will see that batch here. You will definitely see it here. If you put all these parameters, the name of your hospital, you put the type